Well, hello everybody. Blair Nightingale here. Wednesday Wisdom. We're back. We are back. Lots to cover today, lots to go over. Definitely excited to be back. Hope everybody is having a happy new year, had a great holiday. Had a little bit of a break here. Today, we're going to go over a few things off the top of the broadcast, though. I know there will be a bunch of you watching this by recording. So I want to let you know, for these broadcasts we've been doing now about a year. We've been doing these on Mondays and Wednesdays about a year. Want to make sure if you are following us on YouTube today or you're a Facebook user, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like on Facebook, because the thing that's going to happen is anytime we do an update or make an announcement, it's going to automatically send that out to you. What's really important about that right now is that we are going to make some big changes. We're going to another level in every area at Tradeway in 2021, and we're already well into planning what that's going to look like right here. Some big changes coming up in the programming, so you're definitely going to want to be plugged in and know what is coming. We're not going to be doing the same thing. Really value what we've been able to do this last year. But you're going to see some changes rolling in. I think those are going to be really exciting. Why? Because what we are going to deliver to you to help impact different areas of your life. Yes, of course, as always, your financial life. That's why we exist at Tradeway. But also some other areas of your life, like we've been able to do right here on Wednesdays. So make sure you're tuning in for that. I actually am making some pretty big changes in my life as I pursue goals. It's a longer story that I'll spare for here, but I'll actually be headed back to the great state of Texas this year. And that's actually going to create a few different conditions that allow, as we're going to talk about today, me to pursue some goals in my life. But also it's going to change the way we do these a little bit. And I think it's going to be an awesome upgrade. So I look forward to that. That's a big thing on my end that I know is going to impact our sessions together. And like I said, lots of new stuff rolling out. That said, I have to say, I won't go into this long today, but it's a big day for our country. This is a heavy day in many ways. I went to bed last night, and no matter what your political persuasion is, I went to bed last night knowing there was going to be a rally today and just asking the Lord for peace, asking the Lord for truth, asking the Lord to be in the midst of it all. And I believe he is in the midst of it all, but there's a lot going on out there. So just letting you guys know, over at Tradeway, we are paying attention, but we are praying. We're leaning on the Lord. We know that ultimately he is the one who is in control. And really, no matter what is happening, he's the one we have to have our eyes fixed on. And that's how we choose to do it. So a little bit, definitely on my mind. A lot of what has happened in this last 12 months is definitely come to weigh on me a little heavier today. And you know what that's doing, and that's part of our session. It's really inspiring me to remember what I just said. Really, what is my focus? And as I get into some of these things I want to show you right now that I think are going to help you very simply have a more effective 2021. Remember, we want to go further, faster with less work. I'm here to give you simple tools that you can implement that are actually going to enhance your life. How? I hope that and if they are implemented, I believe they have the power to help you get closer to the things that you actually want, to achieve the things you want to achieve, to make the impact that you want to impact, to develop yourself, your relationships with the Lord, with your family, with others, to make those better, deeper, richer experiences. These can be applied in any area. So we're not just talking for talking's sake about different ways to develop ourselves or look forward to the new year, but I'm actually thinking, I told you guys, this was at least a couple of months back now. We talked about making a list of 300 things Literally 300 things. And how difficult, if any of you out there attempted it, it actually is pretty difficult to get to 300 things. And I'm going to say this in a moment when we get into the list I have for you today of just some really simple goal setting hacks. Okay. These are simple hacks that you can use to set better goals. And I'll talk about better goals in a second, but we talked about making a list of 300 things. I'll tell you, I got through 140 of those things. 140 I had written down. It took me a while. I was told you're going to have trouble when you hit 70. I did. I did. And if you've done it, you know what I mean. 140 things. I got in and I got stuck again, but I'll tell you what happened. I'll tell you something really pivotal happened. I looked at my list of 140 things, and I tried to avoid just filling in space. You get to a spot where it's maybe hard to add something to the list. And so you can put in something maybe that doesn't really matter to you, or you just start filling in random things because you're trying to get to 300. I know people who've done this exercise, there's a temptation to do that, but you're looking to fill 300 things. I got almost halfway. And you know what happened when I looked at that list? I turned my attention to the Lord and I said, this list is worth fighting for. Taking the time and sitting down to list out all these 300 things that you desire in your lifetime. 300 things, whatever you want them to be, whatever you think they should be. I'm not saying just because you write the list, it magically appears. I'm saying you're taking the time to identify. Taking the time to identify, what do I really want? What do I really want? And I found this list is worth fighting for. So when I go into the material today, I want to speak to that place in you and say, what are those things that are in your head, in your heart, in your prayer closet, in your home, that when we really get our eyes on them, and we break them down into something practical, something we can think, we can see it in our mind, and we can say, that is worth fighting for it. That's what today's session is about. So we're not just talking about goals because it's January. Now, I say this all the time to folks. January to me, it doesn't hold any special quality to it, except that more people around us are using the new year to say, what are my New Year's resolutions? It still has a sense of newness that we can grab onto. And I believe that there is some energy there. And I love that. I support that. In fact, that's why we're talking about it today. That said, I'm actually a believer that any day of the year can be New Year's for you. And I mean that because any day of the year, we can choose to make a new choice. We can choose to set a goal. It doesn't have to be January on the calendar. It really doesn't. So I believe that there is something in this time of year that we can grab onto, but we can do this at any point. And I'm not just doing this because it's January. I'm doing this because there is a list, I believe, in your life that is worth fighting for. And I've said it 100 times on this channel. When you thrive, it's not that it's all about me or it's all about you, but when you thrive in your God-given purpose, the people around you are going to benefit. They're going to receive from you. When you and I are at half capacity, when we are at half potential, when we do not have clarity, where there is not vision, people perish. Others around us don't benefit from that. And our enjoyment and our impact in life is not richer for it. So I do think there's something like that in every one of us. And that is why I want to talk about this. It's almost like, you get the pastor who does the Mother's Day message. And sometimes depending, you might just get the stock sermon almost sometimes. Some of them are very powerful, don't get me wrong. But it's almost like it's done at that time of year just because it's that time of year. But we could do that at any time of year. Every year they talk about Easter. We could celebrate Easter every day. Man, we could just talk about Easter today. And I mean that because we don't have to wait for something. What is in your life, what God has created you for, the purpose and destiny that's inside of you and me is worth fighting for today. And right now more than ever. Right now more than ever, I want to give myself to you to add value to your life so that you can get to the place you want to go. I feel like God this is off the map for me a little bit, but I want to share this because I think this is going to encourage you. I feel like there's some places in my life where the Lord has intentionally taken me through struggles more than I ever thought I would. But I can tell you what, the fruit of that is that I've come through so many things that has taught me. It's taught me to be smarter, stronger, more efficient. I can help people in so many different ways move through challenges and get to the things that they desire the most. And that is part of where I'm speaking from today. Brian comments, amen, we should celebrate Easter every day. We should. I mean, we should, and we certainly can. So that said, Brian commented, actually, for me, it's over here. Brian commented, if you are joining us today on the broadcast and you'd like to just say hi, comment, ask a question, disagree with me, whatever it is, you can go ahead and make sure to comment there. Just say hi. Just let me know you're there. I love seeing that. I love having you guys let me know that you're on the broadcast, and then I can interact with you that way. Of course, as I said earlier, we're going to have lots of people here watching the recording as well. But just remember, you can always visit us on Facebook or on YouTube, and you can comment, ask your questions there, and you can always visit us at tradeway.com as well. That said, let's jump in here. I said I'm going to give you guys some simple hacks, okay, for setting goals in 2021. Now, of course, this is good for setting goals at any point, but I'm going to give these to you. I've got 3 of them. If you're a note taker, this is for you. First thing, make a list. Take 15 minutes, right? We don't need a ton of time. If you have more, use it. If you don't, set aside, schedule, give yourself the opportunity to get clarity on what you want. Number 1 is this: make a list of things that when you think about doing them this year, you may be continuing a process, you may be starting something new, something you want to do, something you want to achieve. Whatever it is, make a list of things that when you think about doing them, they actually move you. You feel what I'm going to call juice. It's emotional. It's maybe not only emotional, but it's emotional. It moves you. Tony Robbins says it this way: it's not that we don't have goals, right? It's not that we don't have desires. We have desires. Those need to translate into goals, but it's not just that we don't have goals. He says it's that we have impotent goals. We're not choosing goals that really move us. We need something that actually moves us, and we need to write it down. We need to identify those pieces. We all have those pieces in us. Sometimes we're more connected to them than we are at other times. This may take a little bit of time to find, because I know somebody might say, I just don't know if I see that in my life. I just don't know if I know what that is. The search for that is a worthy search. And the way we can start is by taking that 15 minutes and sitting down and going, what moves me in this world? Try not to have a filter. It's not okay to that. No, not that, or not that. Just let it open up. Let it fly. Write it down. If you write it down, it doesn't mean you have to do it, but whatever it is, write it down. Passion is important. When passion is present, there's power. So write down what moves you. And like I said, it may take some time. Try that 300 things. If you haven't done that, try that list, 300 things, and find the 10 top things on that list that you go, you know what? If I get to the end of my days on this earth, those are things that I would not be okay saying, I didn't do that with my life. I didn't do that with my time. I didn't do that. These don't all have to be big things either. If somebody says, I want to be a doctor, but it doesn't seem like, I might be in a situation where that's just extremely difficult to think about doing it. That's not necessarily helpful. Write it down and then think, okay, what's another way I could be involved? Maybe I just really love helping people and seeing them heal. There's something there that I could do. Whatever it is, begin to engage with that. Don't just set a surface goal in 2021. Find something that you say, I'm willing to fight for that. That's an important goal that we need to identify. And I believe that that's planted in each one of us because we have purpose. The scripture says that God has prepared for us good works in advance that we might walk in them. And that he works and wills in us to do what? To do his good pleasure. So if he's prepared works before us, and he works and wills in us to do the things that give him pleasure, certainly the works he's prepared are connected to his pleasure, and he's put that in us. So in us are desires, inclinations, attractions to the things that he is actually wanting us to do. That's what we're doing here, is identifying some of those things. We want to get more specifically and sort of drill down, if I can say it that way, into how do you practically turn a big picture item into an action item. Number two, I'm going to not necessarily drill down into those things. I want to just kind of give you some big picture ways to set goals, but we do need to comment on that. All of these goals have to translate into some kind of action. So the second one here is, when I set a goal that moves me, I am going to, number two, look for a step of massive action. Massive action. I don't know if this is an initially a Tony Robbins phrase, and I know I'm quoting Tony Robbins now twice. It's actually not something that I do all that commonly, but when it comes to goals, I've seen some tremendously impactful material from him, and I want to see us use that for the kingdom of God. And we have to have these things translate into actual action, right? And as I already stated, sometimes we have goals, but they're impotent goals. They don't move us. There's no power because we're not connected to it. There's not passion. But when we have that, we go, okay, oftentimes those areas, now they just require us to take massive action. I'm going to take a step. I'm not going to wait. I'm not just going to write it down. I'm also, number two, going to write down, this is the step that I'm going to take in my life in the next 7 days. In the next 7 days. I am more tempted, my personality is to say today, before the end of today, before I go to bed today, this is the thing I'm going to do. Whatever it is, I begin to put something in motion. Now you say, well, Blair, you say massive action. Maybe it's just the first step towards massive action. I had this goal in 2020. I'm a very artistic person. Creativity is a huge part of who I am. I've been in the entertainment industry for years. I've never been in the performance side in terms of acting, but I've always had a deep desire to pursue the craft of acting. There's many reasons for that. I already said creativity, but I also think there's a major work of redemption to be done in entertainment. And I think God's voice being a part of that in a greater way is something that passionately moves me, and I want to be a part of that. So there's all this backstory, but there's a ton of fear. Here's my point. If I set that as my goal, man, in 2021, I'm gonna pursue that. Well, that's a very big goal, but it moves me. So it fits my first criteria. Second, though, massive action. What is that? Well, what could I do before the end of the day to really do massive action? Well, last year, what I did, I reached out to a school, a very good school in Los Angeles. And I just said, I'd like an entrance interview. I'd like to speak to one of your deans and talk about coming to the school this year. And that's exactly what I did. And you know what? I got on that call, and that was the next step. And I got accepted to the school. I couldn't believe it that I got accepted to this school. This is an incredible school. There's only 2 in the country. Now, COVID came, and where that went, it changed. The school is closed. And so, but you see what happened? I just said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take a step. I'm going to take massive action. It doesn't, at times, that didn't even seem plausible to me. But I'm not going to take no for an answer. I'm going to move forward on the things that matter. Maybe you say you've got something on your list that you want to move towards. That is what I would say to do. You have to start today. You have to do something. And I think you understand what I'm saying. Next one. And this is if we're looking at narrowing down, what are the goals that move me the most? What are the goals that I should really focus on first? One of the things you can also consider, this is number 3, okay? One of the things you can also consider is that we want to choose one area, okay? If I could achieve this one goal this year, if I could achieve significant advancement towards this one goal, or what I like to say, meaningful movement towards a desired outcome, if I could get closer to that in 2021, this is the one thing that would most impact every other area of my life. So we're not necessarily talking about chasing after a bunch of different things, but you say, if I could get meaningful breakthrough in this one area, that would have the most significant impact on every other area. Instead of having a goal for a bunch of different areas in my life, maybe what I need to do, maybe that's how I've been trying to do it. Maybe this year what I need to do is narrow the focus and say, this one area, if I get breakthrough, that breakthrough is going to spill over to every other area of your life. I've been speaking to some friends of mine lately. Some of them, it's spiritual breakthrough. They want to get to, or even maybe get back to, a place of deep spiritual power and intimacy with the Lord. For other people, they're occupying that space and they're saying, you know what? This is a year I need financial breakthrough, right? I'm going to go after that. I'm going to go for it. Maybe it's something different, but whatever it is, you are getting to a place where you are identifying that one area and it will spill over and help you most get breakthroughs in the other areas. Sometimes we're chasing a breakthrough in an area. Man, I've had massive breakthroughs in my life. I'm thinking specifically of 2008, where the area I was trying to get breakthrough and the area the Lord was trying to get me to focus on, which was different, were two different things. And once I let go of trying to get it over here and actually went over here and focused on what he was doing, which I didn't see the connection between the two at all. Okay. Once I dropped that and focused on this, it created breakthrough in every single area of my life. And other than the year I got saved, that was one of the most pivotally transforming years of my life. Why? Because I said, Lord, you're smarter than me. Let's focus on the one thing that if I get breakthrough, it'll have the most impact on every other area of my life. That is something to prayerfully consider for 2021. What are you doing this year, Lord? And what's the thing that if I go after that with all my heart, soul, mind, and strength, which obviously is reserved for him first, it would create the most impact in me and then through me? Because when we are impacted, we become impacting. So that's number 3. Number 4, finally, okay, this is something that needs to be talked about. I'm just looking at our comments here. Yeah, buddy, literally, Buddy Moreland, thanks for being on. Blair, excited for what God has for you this year. Thanks for your investment in all of us out here. I really appreciate you saying that. This is absolutely, I'm going to really lean into this year. I'm really going to lean into this. In 2020, I was impacted deeply by a man who said, he realized that the purpose of his life was to bring value to other people. He wanted to bring value. I thought, wow, what an incredible thing to do. That's my goal. That's what I want to do this year. When I heard that, guys, that moved me. Now, do I need to put skin on it? Do I need to make that more specific? Absolutely. And that's what we've been talking about. But that moved me. So then I begin to say, well, what's one thing I can begin to commit to? What's one area that if I fix or pursue or grow this area, it will most dramatically create that kind of breakthrough in me so that I can help create it in you? That's the process that I am in right now. So Finally, I want to say this. This is number 4. Okay. Remember the first one, make a list of things. When you think about doing them, they will move you. Okay. We also talked about identifying one area, if you're still setting that goal, that if that dramatically changed this year, it would have the greatest impact. You could pursue some other things and they would have impact, but this one would have the domino effect. If you look at it that way, the domino effect in our lives. And I want to look at this last one that I think is skipped over, because we can set these even in areas of passion. Challenges come, tired days come, busy days come, the world competing for your attention, your resources, the most important of which is time. Advertising wants your attention. Entertainment wants your attention. So many other things. Social media wants your attention. It is just, honestly, the enemy of your soul wants your attention. And there are many legitimate things that are obviously calling for our attention. And so that battle is real. And in the midst of that, we lose energy. We lose focus. And we need energy and focus, but we need sustained energy and focus. So number 4 is this. Ask yourself and write it down. When you set a goal, write this down too. How will I build and sustain energy as I pursue my goal? I love what Brendan Burchard said. He said, we don't have energy, right? People say, man, I've got some energy. Most of the time, I think what we might hear people say is, I don't have any energy. It's usually on the other side. Man, I just don't feel like I have any energy. We don't have energy. We generate energy. Energy is generated. The question is, what energy are you generating? What energy am I generating? And am I generating enough? Am I generating negative energy? Am I generating positive? Am I generating energy that's focused on strength, focused on following those goals, or am I generating energy that distracts me? You say, well, what do you mean exactly? Well, think about it. You are going to mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, you're going to process experiences, information, and influences that come at you throughout your day. And the quality of that energy that's coming in is it's going to get processed and it's going to come out. You're going to feel it, experience it, think it in the quality that it came in. So if it came in negative, if it came in heavy, if it came in speaking against the conviction that you have for that goal, disempowering, distracting, demoting your focus for that very thing, it's going to take from your energy. It's going to lower that energy level. It's going to empower a different energy level, which maybe in that case would be fear or doubt or distraction. So we need to think about what is going to generate energy, because a lot of times when we are not reaching a goal that we perhaps have wanted for some time, we already talked about it. Maybe we just haven't made a plan. Maybe we haven't even identified or admitted to ourselves, this is really a goal I want to go after. Maybe we've believed that we can't. All these kinds of things can get in the way. But once we get to the place where we know what we want, then we need to say, I have a plan for going after it, and I have energy to continue to pursue that, because that energy isn't going to build itself. It never does. It never does. I should back off from an absolute statement like that. There are times when we are already in an environment, an ecosystem in our lives where certain things are so celebrated, nurtured, focused upon, that we don't actually need to do a lot of the work ourselves to create energy to pursue a goal. Our lives are already set up that way. For example, for me, the longer I became a believer, the more I built structures in my life that supported that conviction and cause in my heart. I didn't need to build up quite so much energy. because I put things in place with God that did it for me. Well, some of us, we don't have those things built up in certain areas yet. If you're wanting to pursue a new goal, we may not have that ecosystem in place. So we have to have a decision from the outset already made that says, this is how I'm going to sustain this year, this week, this afternoon, pursuing this goal. Now, I've talked about this on the channel. Here's something really simple. I think even just looking around the place that I live. Now, you may choose to do this in one room versus another. I have some things in my own bedroom that are on the wall. I created a space, my studio, where I write and record music. There's a space where I'm actually reminding myself of people who inspire me, accomplishments that others have made that I want to make. Specifically, I have an American flag for me. It reminds me of the impact that I am invited to have on this generation in this country because I love it so much. So I keep that front and center. It's right in front of me. I have things like that. I'm moved deeply by boxers. I've always, since I was very little, been moved by boxers, fighters, training, overcoming, enduring. I have quotes from them. I'm literally cultivating a space where those parts of my heart are fed, where I'm reminded, and passion is renewed. It was Zig Ziglar that said, people often say that motivation doesn't last. He says, well, neither does bathing. That's why we recommend doing it every day, right? We need to stay motivated. Sometimes it's criticism, right? On maybe a conference you might go to, and you come home and you're really pumped up, but then in a week, where are you at? Well, that's not to say that the conference wasn't good. It may have been pivotal. It might be life-changing, but you need something that's going to continue to sustain that energy. And that's what I'm hitting at. And so for me, that's one simple way that I do that. That's one simple way that I do that, constantly reminding myself. And there are so many things we can do beyond that. Having a partnership with a person in your life that understands and has that conviction that you are meant to achieve this goal, whatever it is. And they may also be somebody trying to achieve something similar, or at least there's somebody who sees it in you and believes it over you and will be a partner with you. Something as simple as that can be a huge advantage when you're looking to sustain that energy. But distraction, in my opinion, becomes the first thing that comes in and begins to drain our energy. We give our time to something else as life comes up, the tyranny of the urgent, as they say, and that goal gets less and less attention, even in our intention. And then it falls the wayside. That energy gets sucked out, and we need to move towards that ecosystem. And I think next week, something we're going to look at is looking at how do I build an ecosystem of motivation in my life. We've talked about this a little bit in sessions past, but I think we can go deeper there as we look at really charging ourselves up so that when we go into this year deeper and deeper, we're getting to a place where we're unstoppable. Honestly, we have energy. Listen, I'm living right now. I was staying at a friend's place for the holidays. Travel and everything changed my holiday plans. I stayed at a friend. COVID changed my travel plans for the holidays. So I stayed with a friend, and there's one of their teenagers here, and he's got this girlfriend, and he's so excited about this girlfriend. And when you watch him, you watch that where they're at in their relationship with one another, it's so easy to see that there is so much energy there, this new relationship, exciting, and they just enjoy spending time together and meeting each other's families and all this stuff. There's just nothing that would slow him down. You watch that motivation, and it's a simple way to describe it. It's a pure way to describe it, but we all know what that feels like. It's something that you're just not going to stop that person. but we can harness a similar sort of power in our lives and direct it at the things that we want. And just think about this. If we could find a way to harness power that's not unlike that, you might say, oh, Blair, that's kind of a ridiculous example. Is it? I think it's a really powerful example because it tells me that there are places and times when people click and they get into an intention and you cannot change their mind. You cannot move them. You cannot distract them. You cannot slow them down. They will find a way. That's powerful. Can we not tap into that? Of course, I believe that we can. So here we go. Simple hacks for setting goals in 2021 and looking forward to next Wednesday, going deeper into that. That said, thank you guys for being on today. Like I said at the top, if you weren't with us, we've got some things coming up this year that are going to change these broadcasts, going to be better in every way. We have goals that we're going to roll out in the first quarter for these broadcasts. I think you guys are going to get more than you've ever got, as I said. And then, of course, Mondays, we're always back, and we will be looking at the markets specifically. If you want to, when you set these goals, you find that, you know what, my financial knowledge, my financial breakthrough, my financial stewardship, that's the area that I want breakthrough. That's the area that I most want breakthrough. I want to see growth. I want to see change in that area. Well, you're in the right place. Tradeway is the place for you to be and learn to do that. We help tens of thousands of people do that, and you can be one of them. If you're not already in there, I know there's some names on here that I see that are familiar. So that said, thanks for joining me today. We'll see you on Monday. New things coming. Praying for our nation tonight. It's heavy on my heart. I just ask that you guys would, in your own way, pray, go, ask the Lord, ask for mercy, ask for the things he lays on your heart. I know we're all patriots and lovers of this country, so I would just ask for that grace that we so need on so many different levels. And I thank you guys for being on here, each and every one of you, every time. And for those who are joining by recording, you as well. Thank you so much. Have yourselves a great night, and we will see you on Monday.